everyone. It is Trans Empowerment Month, and today we are bringing you a very, very special interview with two amazing people who are doing powerful things in the world to help you live bigger, better, and bolder, and joyously free. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co founder of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. My apologies. I am Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-founder of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. And now that we are celebrating Trans Empowerment Month, I want you to meet two very important people who are doing incredible things in the world to raise visibility, celebration, respect, and love for people who are trans. I want you to meet Roz Gould Keith. She is founder of Stand with Trans. Welcome, Roz.
Thank you. So
You're
nice to see
welcome.
you again.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you, Roz. And I also want you to meet Idelle Hawkins. She is an event planner, and I want to know your official title, Idelle, at Stand with Trans.
Yep, I'm the program manager here at Sandwich.
Program manager. Excellent, excellent. And I saw you both most recently at the Grosse Pointe Pride celebration in Michigan. And Roz, I met you many years ago when I interviewed you and Hunter on My Healthy Mind, the TV show that I co-host that airs all across Michigan. And that was such a wonderful, powerful interview with both of you, with you. And so Idelle and Roz, welcome. How are you doing today?
We're great. We're happy to be
Yeah,
here.
Good, good, good,
doing
good.
well, doing well.
Yes, excellent. So first, let's start with Roz. Roz, can you please explain why and how you started Stand with Trans?
How much time do I have? The summary of the story is Stand with Trans was founded 10 years ago. My personal journey started 12, almost 13 years ago at this point, when my younger child, who was in eighth grade at the time, came to me and told me that he was a boy, that he wasn't a girl, that as we had thought, but that he was a boy, and that he'd been doing research and wanted to transition and all the things that went along with that, socially, legally, medically. And I had never heard the word transgender before. So we had a lot of work. We had a lot of learning to do. We had to find him resources. We had to find the support. And unfortunately, at the time, there really were no resources for families, for young people, for youth. Every call I made was, oh, we're so sorry. Oh, 13. Oh, 14. Oh, no, sorry. We have 18 plus, right? And Idell, you're nodding. I mean, this was just like the resources just didn't exist. There was nothing for parents, nothing for youth. And we finally found one medical provider who was seeing at trans adolescents. And of course, she wasn't in our health care network. So that was just out of the question at the time. It was just not affordable to pay out of pocket. Long story short, we did eventually find him the care that he needed. And as we started telling our story publicly, families came out of the woodwork. It was really unheard of. Nobody was talking about this. And, it was all kind of quiet behind the scenes. And so when families heard about us, they felt comfortable and safe coming out to and even just contacting us and saying, oh my God, I relate, this could be my family. What do we do? And so I knew at that point that there was a need for the support and the formalized resources to bring families together to help young people see that they weren't alone, that they had peers who were just like them, and for parents to be able to have a space to talk. So that was the impetus behind Stand with
hmm
Trans
I
uh,
love it.
being
Love it,
formed,
Roz.
and here we are. 10.
Beautiful, beautiful. And now Idelle is on board. Thank you for that, Roz, and thank you for all that you're doing to help so many people and families. And Idelle, can you tell us briefly your story, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Idel. I'm the co-founder of Dolls Night Detroit. I'm the program manager here at Stanwood Trans, and I'm somebody who's long been interested in public health. So, my background is in community organizing and thinking about how we can make people's lives better. So that's what brought me to Stand with Trans, recognizing that trans people, trans non-binary, gender expansive people, um, there's a journey that we're all going on as we like navigate life and understanding our transition, but the people around us are also having that experience. And so I really appreciated that Stand with Trans and Ross recognized that it's part of the movement to help trans people, to advocate for trans people, has to include parents and families and caregivers. And it's something where I'm always amazed to see so many families who are deeply passionate and want to learn and have that genuine love for their kids despite maybe not understanding everything. So
Hmm.
that's what brought me here is it's kind of putting all those pieces together, public health background, working in infectious disease and HIV, STI prevention, and all of that is bringing me here.
Beautiful. I love this so much. And what is bringing me to you as well is our book, Joyously Free: Stories and Tips to Live Your Truth as LGBTQ plus people, parents, and allies. I wrote this book with our author, Joni Lindenmeyer. She's a lesbian author, bestseller, amazing story, Earth Angel. And I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-founder of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and we published this book. And so I'm very honored, Idel and Roz, that I get to do a workshop with you as part of Trans Empowerment Month. And it's so exciting because the 2 hour workshop is going to be an immersion in confidence boosting, courage boosting, self exploration to live bigger, better, bolder, louder, in color, out and proud. So I'm super excited to join your mission with this book at your workshop. So can you talk to us about this wonderful event that is coming up and how people can participate?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say a few words and then leave it to Ross. But Trans Empowerment Month is so many things. It's a celebration, it is education, it's community building. We bring that all together to do what is basically 30 days of programming in October in celebration of trans people and the people around them who care for them. So we have performances, we have music related events, we have educational events that talk about navigating transition, navigating detransition and reframing the narrative around it, looking at transness and gender identity as it relates to neurodivergence. There's just so many different things that we're bringing to Trans Empowerment Month for youth, for parents, for loved ones. And this is the 6th year we're doing it, I believe. So joining it is my first time, getting my hands on Trans Empowerment Month in a way, but it's really beautiful to see how people have gotten so much education and information from it, and it's really blossomed because I know that it's kind of transitioned in what Trans Empowerment Month looks like for Stand With Trans.
Hmm. Excellent. Wonderful. Wonderful. Roz?
I mean, I don't know that I could really add much to that. I will say that the history is in the very beginning of Stand with Trans, we produced a conference. It was called the Trans Empowerment Workshop, and it was specifically for trans youth. And we did that for a couple of years. It was in person. It was amazing. It was like this all day conference. Youth could come together. They made new friends. They could choose their sessions. We fed them. It was it was really, there was nothing like it. And then we expanded and we added parents and young children. So we had tracks for them. And then COVID hit. And so we had to make a choice. Do we just pull the whole program or do something different? And that's when we decided to make it a virtual event. And rather than trying to cram everything into all day, people sitting in front of a computer, which frankly didn't sound like a good time to me, we just spread the content out over the course of a month. And so that's how it's grown and evolved. And every year we do bring back a few things that were super popular in the past, and then we add, and we always are looking for, what's topical, what's trending, what do people really want to hear about. And we look for experts, in
Yeah.
the respective fields. So we're bringing in people who are living the experiences, who, are experts in their field, and so they can speak to a particular topic to resonate with the audience.
Beautiful. Well, I'm so honored to be that person. Can
Yeah,
you,
so.
can you please talk about the workshop that we'll be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll leave you to give a little more detail about it. But like you said, the theme, the idea of the workshop is that we are showing people how they can be joyously free. So from looking through your book and reading some excerpts, I see that you bring a real hands-on approach to it. So I'm
Right.
excited to see the different ways that we can not only bring that education piece, but allow people to actually leave the session with something, with resources, with information, or a new way of thinking.
Hmm.
So that's
Yes.
how I imagine it. And it's one of, I wouldn't say few virtual in-person sessions, but it is an in-person session that I'm excited for, the Sunday event. So.
Yes, 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 yes. And excellent. And Roz, can you tell us the date, location, time, how to register?
No. I did.
Okay.
The Trans Empowerment Month it's throughout the entire month of October. So I
Hmm.
don't know if we have specifically stated October. I don't have the calendar handy, but Idel, you
Yep,
may.
I can
So we
pull
have the
it.
date of your session, and then we will post the link to our website so you can get more information about Trans Empowerment Month, and then for people to sign up. It is, if you are 25 and under, it is free to register and attend any and all sessions throughout the entire month. And right now, for folks who register, it's 50% off. So that's $25 for the entire month. So it's really, you can't go to any conference for $25 or even
Right.
$50, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
it's just a great opportunity to find some community and take away some learning, get inspired. There are tracks for youth, there are tracks for adults, there's tracks for allies, there's general tracks. It's like for anyone, regardless of age, identity, and lived experience.
Hmm.
Um, and Adele, if you have the date, we can share that.
Yeah, let me pull that. And I will say if you could post the link to our website, we have the registration and
Yep.
that lists the full sessions, the dates, people can sign up and get more information too before they register.
Absolutely. Definitely. And it's October 18th, and it's going to be 2 hours. And I am going to lead people through writing exercises, meditations, and things in this book when everybody will get their own copy of the book. And we are going to do hands-on deep dives and allow everybody to step away with tools that they can actually use, whether they're a trans person, parent, or ally, and they can step away feeling empowered, confident, courageous, hopeful. And especially during these times, we need more tools that we can use that empower us in our daily lives and in the collective to make a positive, powerful impact so that we keep progressing and not go backward. So, can you two please talk about the importance of doing things like Trans Empowerment Month right now and workshops like I'll be doing during these particular current events?
Yeah. I think one thing that's really important right now is that we really have to rely on community. And so, in a time of such divisiveness, we have to figure out ways that we can bring everybody in. So, having a whole month of Trans Empowerment Month, having Trans Empowerment Month that speaks to different audiences, that speaks to different tracks, what people are looking for, the help or guidance that people are trying to find. Putting that all in one place for people, I think, is the most beneficial thing that we can do. And we really have to lean into that spirit of community and how can I learn from my neighbor and how can I build across and work with people who I know in my community. Because ultimately, as they say, that's all we have sometimes is each other. So that's what I really think is important about Trans Empowerment Month. And this session especially adds to that in its own way.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's a tangible resource that people can lead with. It's focused on parents, caregivers, allies of trans people. So yeah, it brings in everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that your theme is love transcends. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I will say also that, I mean, at the end of the day, Stand with Trans is really about providing resources, right? I mean, we have support groups and we have information on our website, and there's a variety of things that we do and programs that we offer up, but boiling it all down, we're a resource, and that shifts as the community needs change. And
Mm-hmm.
as Idel said, we're in the midst of so much divisiveness and battling what's happening, at a federal level. And so we, in staying true to our mission, really want to make sure that we are here for the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always the first ones to say that if you need something and you don't see it on our website, just contact us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that we'll have an easy answer or that we can always deliver, but we will do our best to try to find you support, even if it's not something that we provide,
Mm-hmm.
because, we don't corner the market on all things for all people.
Mm-hmm.
So we rely on our community partners a lot.
Yeah. Are you discovering that more and more people are coming to you? I mean, there are very scary headlines about all kinds of things, gender affirming care being discontinued and such. So, can you tell us, are more and more people coming to you seeking comfort, resources, information?
Yeah, a lot of scared, panicked families,
Hmm.
particularly here in Michigan. Michigan Medicine is halting their gender affirming care for youth under the age of 19.
Mm.
So at the end of September, they won't be able to see patients and prescribe um, gender affirming hormones or puberty suppressors. And so that's causing, a lot of worry. But we've created a provider list that is growing each day. So when people contact us, we'll be able to say, you know, these are providers in the state who can possibly help you or help your child. And keeping in mind that gender affirming care in Michigan is legal. So the fact that they pulled care or another healthcare system in another state, these are, for the most part, states where care is legal. And so, we want to be a voice of reason and be able to reassure people and help them navigate the changes because the change is scary.
Yes, yes, it's so wonderful that you're providing that resource list. So, outside of Trans Empowerment Month, do you have like a support group where people can join monthly and just come together and just feel that sort of comfort together?
Yes, absolutely. That's actually, I would say one of the biggest services that we provide, and I know it's kind of part of the origin story of Stand with Trans, are our support groups, our community connections groups. And they speak to a lot of different identities. So we have parent groups, we have parents of trans adults groups, trans mass, transmit, a trans mass, trans male group, just several different kind of like identity-based sessions where people can get that peer
Hmm.
support from people who have been through processes, name changes, legal changes, physical changes, and they also, a lot of our facilitators like to bring in other experts. To do presentations. So, for example, our trans mass group had a session where they brought in a gynecologist. So things like that that are very mindful of the things that are happening in people's lives that they may not want to talk about. So
Wow.
they're growing. We have several virtual groups. There is a calendar on our website, but we also have some in person, and we hope to bring more and bring on more facilitators as well. So we do have some openings for support group facilitators, and if you reach out, send your resume, we can get you set up with an interview, things like that. But it's always our goal just to connect the community and like Ross said, be a resource for information.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, anybody watching or listening, please go to standwithtRans.org. It's a very enriching website where you can learn about some of these resources and events. It's an excellent, excellent I just felt very welcomed when I when I entered your website. And I love, love, love that you're especially helping, in addition to trans people, parents. Because in this book, we have contributors, many of whom are parents of trans people, and they want, with love, to help their child transition or live in their truth, but they don't know what to say or do, and they're terrified of saying the wrong thing. And
Mm.
there's one mom, I'm sorry, it makes me cry. There's one mom in here, she wrote about how she said the wrong thing to her trans daughter one day, and it was just wrong. It was something that I guess pushed the buttons. And she felt terrible because she meant it with love. So I love that both of you are educating people on what to do, how to be, how to support. That's so important. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Did you want to weigh in a little bit, Roz?
Uh-oh, Roz, you're muted. Hold
Sorry.
on. It's okay. There
Sorry,
you
my
go.
dog was making noise in the background.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. I see.
Well, just, I can talk from a parent perspective, of course. But I think the most important thing is it's a really simple question. If your child comes out to you, or you're trying to figure out how to help them, don't make assumptions. And all you have to say is, what do you need? Or how can I
Mhm.
support you? Right? Because sometimes all they need is to just for you just for them to just know that you're there,
Mm,
and you don't have to really do anything else in the moment. And I think also that kids know, and when I say kids, it could be any age, but in that parent-child relationship, I think they know when you make a mistake and it was done out of some caring or concern, not because you're intentionally trying
mm,
to um, dismiss them or not affirm who they are. And if you make a mistake, apologize and move on. Um, don't make it a big deal. And just don't make that same mistake again, right?
mm-hmm.
But Idel, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's just, thinking about, I think taking some more time to just process your thoughts is something. I'm a very internal person, so thoughts are always racing, but I would always just say taking more time, really being intentional with the ways that you think about your child's life and how you balance the expectations that you may have for them versus the reality of their life, and their experience and what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. I know there's always that, or a lot of people have heard that comment of like, it feels like you may have died, and I hate to even bring that here, but that idea is like really rooted in my expectations of you have ceased. What I thought,
Right.
what I was imagining and what I was envisioning, is gone. And that is a very sad thing for a parent, I can imagine. But on the other end, taking that extra step, really being intentional with how you think about your feelings versus your child's feelings in that process of development. I think that's just the critical thing. Just taking
Mhm.
time, being slow, asking questions, but um, yeah, really, I think allowing humility in. That's what I say all the time. I actually say this to my friends all the time, but letting go of the ego, I think is really the big thing to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge. Like, we need to learn more, or I need to, maybe weigh my feelings with the feelings that they're having in this moment, things like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I love that. I love that. And acknowledging your feelings, that's huge because a lot of the parents, they express grief. If
yeah,
they have a child that was born a girl, they have visions of a wedding and being a grandparent and all this stuff. And that's not going to happen the same way that they envisioned it. So they have to let go of that. And that's a
Mhm.
big deal. And so being
Yeah,
gentle, giving grace, and I think every person on the planet should get therapy regardless of what their issues are that they're going through. And so I really think everybody should, the person who is trans and the parents and the friends, the family members, just to understand and help process all the feelings, because there can be a celebration. There can be like, wow, what courage you have to announce your truth and live in that authentically, boldly. That is the
Yeah.
most beautiful thing someone can do. And when the family embraces it, it's just beautiful.
Absolutely. And I think that's something where, you see the relationship develop where you start to get new expectations, or you're just so surprised by what their interests are, what they may be doing, or where they're going, or who they're with. And that can be just as fulfilling, I think, also, where it's like, wow,
Mhm.
I didn't even know that you were into this, or that
Mm-hmm.
you would
Mm-hmm.
turn out like this, or you would talk to this person. So I think just allowing that space. And then, in the same way, setting new expectations where now you have a new vision of like, I see who you are now and I can see the fullness of your being.
Mm-hmm.
What do I imagine your new life to be? And, or not new life, but, what do I imagine your future to be in that same way?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of like make that your own transition basically from the expectations that you had that are no longer here to
Mm-hmm.
what the new self is
Mm-hmm.
realizing.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
And I was just gonna just to add to that is,
yes.
you know, as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
expectations don't have to be gendered,
mhm,
right?
Mm.
You can, like, because I know when my son came out, it was my feelings were, I want you to have a happy life and I want you to find love and I want you to be successful at whatever is meaningful to you and I want you to be a productive part of society. None of those things had anything to do with his gender,
yeah.
right? It was just about who my child was as a person. And so I think from a parent perspective, again, you can still be, yeah, maybe there's a wedding in the future, but it's gonna look different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about, you know, finding your people and finding love and being productive and finding your own happiness. So I think again, as a parent, looking at that, reframing those expectations, which really don't have anything to do with gender,
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
right?
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful,
Yeah.
Roz.
Mhm.
So, can you talk about any advice you have for parents? You just shared some, but more? I mean, because they could be shocked. And sadly, the suicide rate for trans youth is horrific, and the homeless rate for trans youth who've been kicked out of the family home by parents is horrific. And that leads to a spiral of all kinds of bad things. So, can you talk about what parents can do, like to stop before they react in a terrible way and reconsider and just embrace their child with love?
I mean, I've been preaching this for the past 10 plus years, but you just have to love your child unconditionally. Um, and that doesn't mean no boundaries and that you don't demand respect. And it's all the same. I used to say when I was running one of the parent support groups, parenting is parenting. And so if you're going to have, boundaries where there are consequences if those boundaries are broken or
Mm-hmm.
if they're not following the rules and the values of the family, there are consequences, right? And I
Right.
know a lot of families where they don't impose any of that when their child is trans because they're afraid. They're afraid to upset the apple cart. They're afraid to say no because what their child might do, or, and these are the times when the child is most vulnerable that you need to have those boundaries and impose consequences. And they need to understand very much so, like, okay, we're going to love you. We're going to support you. We're going to be here for you. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter who you love. We're here. And this is what's expected of you as a member of the family, right? That means that you're going to take out the trash every week, or you're going to empty the dishwasher, or whatever those chores are, right? And so, again, it's that parenting is parenting. So I think that you have to continue to do what you would do as a parent in a family structure, and sometimes go overboard in demonstrating how much you love and support that child,
Mm.
right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we went through a period where I think probably daily I had to say to my child, I'm here with you. I'm right here. We're going to make it happen. Don't worry. I love you. I've got your back because he didn't yet have the resources. And, it was, you know, he was 14 and wanted to transition, and I didn't know how to get that. And, there was just a lot of turmoil. And so that's even more so when they know that you've got their back. And because nobody else may have their back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids at that age, even older teens, peers are fickle. And one day they may be besties, and the next day they, won't even, they're being ghosted. But they have to have a constant. And if that constant can be the family,
Mm,
that's going to
Mm.
carry them through a lot.
yeah,
Beautiful. I love
yeah.
that. Idel, do you have
Um,
anything to share on that point?
yeah, I would say, when I thought about it, it was a little left field, I would say, but I grew up as like a kid in STEM, so I was always in like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and I know that is STEAM now. And that is really my point is that I think really promoting, obviously all trans people are different, but allowing your children to engage in artistry in some way. I think queerness and the arts are inherently tied for whatever reason. I think I see such a there's like a gravitational pull to
Oh, why is that?
whether yeah, it's like, where I feel like that this you find community in these artistic spaces. So whatever that may look like, I know sometimes parents are trying to figure out, how can I find more friends? How can I get them around more trans people? And sometimes that looks like support groups. Sometimes that looks like, maybe somebody who you find in like a Facebook parent group. But I think also one way is by engaging in the arts in a variety of ways. So whether that's like singing, theater, music production, painting, whatever the medium is, I would say feeding into that is something that is really just, I think, important for self-development in general. And it's another way, another medium for people to express themselves and figure
Mm-hmm.
out who they are and what they want and what their goals are.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always just, had my hands in little things at all times, and it just creates a really well-rounded person. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say definitely that. Sometimes it's about how can I medically support, how can I support the name changes, social transition, but also just like how can I develop like a full, well-rounded person who,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
Ross said, is a contributor to society and has aspirations.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I know a lot of people are confused about what trans is, and they think someone just woke up one day and decided I'm going to change my gender. Can you please explain what is trans in a way that someone who doesn't understand it can get clarity, and that it's not just you wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to change." It comes from within.
Yeah, I would say, transness, it looks like so many different things for so many different people, and the way that they come into their transition, it may happen at different points in life. It may happen with different friends around them, family support, whatever that may look like. So transness, it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, depending on what stage in their life they are. But it's really this idea that, um, the way that you are perceived in the world, the way that you present, the way that you see yourself does not align with the sex that you were assigned at birth. And so it's a way to, almost the purpose is not to defy social standards or defy some social construct, but it's I think it's just like operating in your being basically, where it's like I have determined I feel this in my spirit that this is who I am, and so I'm going to operate as I'm being told to, by myself. Like, if that makes sense. I don't want to, get too like wordy with it, but I think it's really a sense of self. It's a feeling. It's something that you know in the way that you know other things about yourself that are just inherent that you don't question.
Mm-hmm.
And the time that it takes for people to realize that or to come into that doesn't change how trans they are. The way they're perceived in society, whether they're a passing trans person or somebody who is not so passing, that doesn't change their transness. And also transness. can look like people who are non-binary as well. So people who are non-binary, gender expansive, androgynous. But it ultimately is this idea that you aren't aligning with what was assigned to you at birth, what you were told that you are, and expressing that.
Thank you very much for that excellent
Yeah,
explanation.
I hope that.
Yes.
And I would, I know there's so much ridiculousness out there, right? And people who don't get it, and it's like, oh, I'm
Mm.
going to be a turtle today. And that just trivializes the trans experience and the trans identities. And it's like I was thinking as you were talking, Idel, I'm a lefty. And yeah, I can do some things with my right hand that actually I can't do with my left hand. But overall, I'm a lefty. But if someone said to me, you can only use your right hand, right? That would be weird and awkward and uncomfortable. And it's, in a way, might help people if they think of it that way, who aren't really comprehending what it means to be transgender, right? So somebody who was assigned male at birth, who identifies as female, um, is, it's not because they just want to wear girl clothes or they just want to, have long hair. It's truly how they identify it. So it's not
Yeah,
unlike, if you use your right hand or your left hand, it's not, it's just how you are, right?
yeah,
You're born like kids who are just learning to feed themselves. They have an affinity to using one hand or the other. It's not because the parent puts the spoon in the kid's left hand that they're using it. No, they'll drop it or be awkward and they'll grab with their other hand.
yeah,
So, um, I don't know if that helps folks out there who are trying to really comprehend what that means, but it's not like the choice is coming out, right? The choice is not to be trans or not, or to
yeah.
identify differently. The choice is living your truth and coming out and living as the gender in which you identify.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And
love
with that,
that.
I just wanted to add like just as a kind of like bringing it all together, like when we think about things like suicide rates for trans non-binary people, I've heard many stories and know many people who have experienced the reality of not imagining a life for themselves, not having those expectations for how their life will go on. And so they're depressed and they're anxious and they struggle with suicidal ideation. And transitioning, coming out, allowing themselves to fully accept the truth of their identity and express that is what curbs their depression. And, getting on hormones is the antidepressant. So I think also too sometimes there's this idea that trans people are all on SSRIs and while those are helpful life-saving medications at the same time for so many people transitioning is the thing that allows people to continue, allows them to see a life for themselves.
Life saving. It's literally life
Exactly.
saving. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I believe your organization is life-saving because it's providing resources and affirmation that people urgently need. So, can you tell everybody who's watching or listening your social media where people can find you? Because I know you have a very large, enriching social media presence.
We do. Yeah. We're just at Stand with Trans, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.
Beautiful, beautiful, excellent. Well, do you have any final words to encourage people to participate in Trans Empowerment Month and carry that energy throughout the entire year?
I would say there's something for everybody within Trans Empowerment Month and it's part of a movement of celebration of trans people, and
Mm-hmm.
now more than ever, trans people need to be uplifted. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely check it out. Check out the registration page on standwithtrans.org. But there's something for everybody, and we would love to see you all there.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Roz?
I don't have anything to add. This was really, I mean, I could talk for
Okay.
another hour. This was great. If you're at all curious, if you're part of the community, if you're an ally, you're a caregiver or loved one, come sign up. Um, it's just, we promise that you'll walk away with some useful information. You'll feel inspired. There'll be some new insight and um, our feedback from past years has been nothing but positive. So um, we invite you all to sign up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I am so honored and excited to lead the Joyously Free workshop. It's going to be hands-on, interactive, and very transformative. So please join us. You can learn more at the standwithtrans.org website. So, Idel and Roz, thank you so very much for joining me here on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing channel. I am thrilled. I applaud all the wonderful things that you're doing in the world to help people and their families who really need the empowerment that you're offering, especially in this climate where we are now, so that what you're doing can help continue progress
Yep.
instead of allowing anything to be reversed. So thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
You're so welcome. And everybody, remember, go to standwithtrans.org. You can also get this book anywhere books are sold online in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Thank you for watching. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. We'll see you soon.